Welcome to I Could Never, a podcast about non-monogamy and the many ways it can look. I'm Genevieve from Polyamory on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I'm joined as always by my co-host and partner, Ishik.
That's right. I'm Genevieve from TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, you get a 2 for 1.
Oh, I read that wrong.
You've
I'm
already
so sorry.
forgotten your identity.
I'm Ishik. What's up, guys?
Hi.
Hey. But it is not just Genevieve. And it's not just me, also Genevieve. We are also joined by our third doppelganger, Genevieve, a.k.a. Reece Foster.
I don't like that.
A.k.a.
Don't redo that.
I'm not redoing that. A.k.a. Saul Forged on Instagram, a Cornish artisan blacksmith based in Ireland. And I will add a very special guest for the podcast. Welcome, Reece.
Hello.
Hi.
But...
No, you can introduce Viber Vent.
What? Oh... No, but I'm Genevieve, so I don't do that. It's Viber Vent time. That's the Viber Vent.
That's the Viber Vent
That's
intro.
the Viber Vent intro.
For anybody who's new here, we like to start off every episode with a little icebreaker called Vibe or Vent, where we each take a little beat, go around, and talk about something that we're either happy about this week, that we're vibing about, or something that we're pissed about that we need to get off our chest. So, Ishik, are you vibing or are you venting today?
I am venting today. Despite the fact that just a mini vibe. I'm vibing on these chocolate smoothie thingies that we made. Delicious protein smoothie. It's very tasty.
It's a very hot day.
It's a very hot day. But that is a mini vibe. Doesn't fucking count. I am venting. All around the world, there are so many events and so many regimes and so many administrations in government that are actively engaging in tactics and policies that are an attack on empathy. Truly, not only are ambivalent to the suffering of people, but seem to be designed to cause suffering in people out of cruelty and personal gain for a small class of people, usually the wealthy, right? And so that's why I don't even feel a need to say the specific thing, because when this episode goes live in whoever knows how many months, that there will probably be a new thing that week or that day that will have happened. While the things that are happening are cruel, you can still protect your people. You can still protect people in community. You can invite new people into community. You can take care of them, right? In the face of loss of medical care, in the face of loss of housing, in the face of loss of employment, right? Whatever the fresh horror is that day, don't let that kill your empathy. Don't let them kill your empathy. A little bit of a heavy note to start, but it is what it is. It's what we do here, Vibe or Vent. Reece, I'm going to pass it off to you. Are you vibing or venting? Feel free to not be so bummery if you don't want to be. Or be as bummery as I am, or worse.
I mean, I definitely vibe with everything you're saying. It's all a bit fucked in the world at the moment. But in all honesty, for me, I have to vibe. I have no other choice, I find. So today I am vibing. I'm vibing. I made some lovely new tools and other items in the forge today that were extremely successful. And lots of other lovely things are happening within the week. Yeah.
I feel like you're giving a sneak preview to some other stuff.
Yeah, that was sneak preview. So yeah, I'm vibing. Okay.
Well, you have instructed me, Ishik, on what I was supposed to vibe about a few hours ago. It was an order even.
It was
So
an order.
is this still what I should be vibing about today?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I've been told I need to vibe that my Instagram just hit 200,000 followers. It happened and I was like, oh, cool. And he's like, nope. No, you're celebrating this. You're vibing about this because I am trying to practice, wallowing in good things too. I guess wallowing.
Wallowing.
Wallowing's
still
the
went
wrong
with
word.
wallow.
I don't know, reveling in. How about that?
That's
Relishing.
it. That's the one.
That's
the word.
It's a practice I'm learning in adulthood, because everything that was good, I would always be like, okay, cool, check, let's move on. But everything that's bad, gets a focus, and I'm trying to break that practice. So
That's very good.
So we're across the board. We're running the gamut today, which is what it is to be human, eh? All right.
I mean, that's the point of Vibrevent, right? Is to show the breadth of the human existence in relationship to the world around us. And that is what the point of this podcast is to learn about the many different types of relationships we can see in non-monogamy. Fucking flawless transition.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Emmy, please, or whatever the podcast equivalent of an Emmy is. We should probably find that out because I deserve one now. So, Reece, can you please tell the listeners and the viewers a little bit about your relationships, your relationship to non-monogamy? Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, where to start a story than the beginning? So, I realized I was poly, and that it was something that interested me when I was quite young, when I was 16. When I was younger, I was in relationship, but I'd always had this feeling of deepening, of I have so much love that I want to give, and one person isn't enough. And I had my friends, and that was a specific kind of love. But my relationships were a deep connection, and I was thirsting for this deep connection and love emotionally. That otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get if I didn't have deeper connection and relationship. Now, unfortunately, as many people in the sphere know, that isn't generally received great. And when I was 16 or 17, and I told my girlfriend, maybe I want to love more than one person. Maybe I want to love more than you. I think I can. She turned around to me and said, "Well, yeah, you can do that without me."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first foray into shame-filled mono-mind and all of that carry on. And that continued for a long time then. And then I turned about 18 or 19, and I ended up meeting a married couple. She was on a dating app, and I was like, oh yeah, all right, I'll like this person. They're doing the thing. I want this to be my life. I might as well, move into it. So I did. We went on a couple of dates. It was lovely. She was lovely. Although it did start off with, you're a lot shorter than I imagined.
No.
Jesus Christ.
It's always the one. Despite that, I have a giant character, so that kind of paid for it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, just to add to that, I didn't even register that you were short. Are you short? I didn't think you were short.
I'm like 5'9", 5'10".
That's not short at all. What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about height anyway. Like, it doesn't matter anything to me. Like, fucking Jesus Christ. Anyway,
That's very strange, but continue.
so yeah, I started getting to know her. We went on a couple of dates. I was like, I would love to meet your husband. It would be so lovely. I think it would be great. And they were like a bit nervous. They were a bit nervous and a bit tetchy about it. But I was like, look, like, I don't want to do this if I don't know people. So I ended up meeting the husband, became best friends with him. It was great. He taught me a load of things. Taught me foraging, became a foraging friend. So we'd forage on the coastline. And then I had the side relationship of the wife, which was lovely, and it was connective, but it was also a bit weird. They weren't as much into polyamory as they were into swinging, with a little taste of polyamory. They liked the idea, but they didn't do the execution very well. When I started to feel more deeply about somebody else, she ended up blowing up big time.
So you didn't get to. She got to have a husband and a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything blew up. She fell out with me. The husband fell out with me for a little while, but kind of understood. And yeah, but it was all very messy, and it didn't need to be. But I got into this new relationship, And I did discuss, at the very beginning, I discussed, this is what I want from relationship. This is what I expect to polyamory, X, Y, and Z. And this is what I am. This is who I am. And I learned my lesson, or at least I thought I did, because it wasn't open at the beginning. And then later on, when I suggested to open up, when all of the consent was there at the beginning of the relationship, it turned around and was like, oh, I thought you meant an open relationship, not polyamory. I'm not comfortable with that.
Wow.
And then the relationship ended as all of my past relationships have done, even though I am a polyamorous man with people cheating on me. So that unfortunately passed again. And then at the age of 24, then that leads me up to be, I ended up meeting my current partner on our third serious date. We got close, and I really like prepared myself. This time I was like, holy shit, I've got to really make sure to drill this home this time. And I'm like, so I just want to tell you, I kind of like alternative style relationships. That's how I opened it up. I was like, okay, this is a safe way to, bring it up. And she was like, oh, do you mean polyamory? My partner was for 5 years. Oh, that's great. And like out of the blue, as if heaven had opened, I have now landed with my nesting partner, who is wonderful and safe and gave me the safety I needed. Really very much. She settled my system big time now. Like I feel more safe than I ever have done in relationship. I've worked on my anxieties of all of the past traumas that I had within those relationships. She's super happy that I am opening up to different relationships now. In fact, she was mourning that she didn't have it in her life. So now I am opening up to lovely people, and yeah.
Well, real quick before we kind of move forward from there into current events, I did want to just highlight that I really loved, you were talking about that first relationship with the married couple. You talked extensively about your relationship with the man who became a good friend of yours. You talked about what you guys did together, all this other stuff. And then you're like, and I had that side relationship with her. And then also this other, person who I guess you have sex with or whatever.
and for me, I to talk into that, I am Demi. I'm like walking more into that truth in my mind. I do not make connections very often. When it comes to friendships or relationships, they're not a common thing for me. So demisexual would be like, you don't feel anything until you really feel it. And then you might flow in and out of it, but predominantly it's quite intense when it does happen for me.
So are you not in touch with him at all anymore?
No. That separation, unfortunately, also drove a bit of a wedge between us two. And I was very saddened to lose that relationship as well. I wanted everybody to feel safe. And I respected and liked everybody around. But yeah, unfortunately not.
Genevieve alluded to the imbalance before where she could have another relationship, but you couldn't have another relationship. What was her response to that? Like, how did she kind of characterize her perspective on it?
So it was never discussed. I had assumed, and we had talked about polyamory, and she was looking for a more detached, no strings attached situation. I was absolutely fine with that, and I was always communicative with it as well. I don't connect with people often, so when I did connect with this new person, I told her right away. But it's just that it wasn't taken well. And then their own anxiety started playing in. They struggled, and they were both ex-Mormon. So, like, there's all of that. They had lost people they loved, and they were separated by people, and, there's all of that aspect of it. But they were trying to heal, and they were trying to do well, and their intentions were placed in a place where I thought they would progress. The only problem is the anxiety never went away, and it kept persisting. And that's where my core concern was. But like, I never thought that they wanted then to control me in my seeking of relationships. But that was not the case. I forgive them. They're going through their own work, and they had gone through their own work, and unfortunately it didn't work for them. And so, like everything, sometimes you need to try, and sometimes it doesn't work.
I mean, I would just want to say that I really appreciate both the empathy and the understanding of the struggle that they were going through with their anxiety, while also taking care of yourself and having boundaries around what you needed and how you expected to be treated, and how you wanted your life to look, right? To be able to see and understand they're not trying to harm, but that they are harming.
Yeah. Well, we have empathy, but we don't tolerate harm thing. Yeah. I don't know. I feel for you, because I think that's a really unfortunately common issue. Somebody trying so hard to say upfront all of the things, be transparent, and people even having good intentions, they want to work on something, and just, sometimes we fall short, or they fall short, and it's just not going to work. Yeah. So it's very real.
Yeah, but like I would always say as well, self-work is fucking hard. It's not an easy thing, and the reason I feel so comfortable with polyamory is because I've had years of therapy. I've had my own traumatic background. I've gone through a hell of a lot of shit, and I've came out kicking. But that's only because I did the work on myself. And last year, I went through an extreme bout of anxiety. Like, I panic attacks, anxiety all the time, because I was afraid of losing my relationship. But that was more so to do with my safety than it was anything else. I felt unsafe because there was a lot of things going on in my life. And that's okay too. It's okay to exist like that, as long as you can be held and go through it. But one of the exercises that helped me was an exercise called "And What Then?", which is when you are talking to somebody. Say somebody is going to echo back, "And what then?" So I'm afraid that you're going to leave me, and they'll say, "And what then?" And like, okay, well, if you leave me, then I'll be alone, or maybe you won't care anymore. And what then? And you go into this chain. You go down that rabbit hole, and you find then where that fear comes from. It might not be, you leaving. It might be, I don't want to be abandoned, or like, I don't feel safe or stable in my life financially, or this or that. And you find the core problem, because the problem isn't them leaving. Anybody can leave. Anybody can come. People can come and go throughout your life as they please. Life is free flowing, and hopefully people stay if you love them. But sometimes they don't. But usually the core isn't them leaving. It's a fear or an instability in the life you lead that then can be addressed. You're not then addressing the anxiety and fear about someone else. You're then bringing it back to yourself. What is my fear? What is me? What's going on here that is creating it?
Yeah, I have friends do that to me to this day, even though the fears look different. Where they'll be like, "So what if that does come true? What if that does come true?" I remember I used to be afraid that you would leave me years ago, and then once that fear went away,
then it happened,
and I never talked to you again. Once that fear started to go away, it transformed into, well, what if he just dies? Like, that's what's outside of our control. But it was still that fear of, like, abandonment. And I remember, I could say her name, Caro, said, what if he does? Will you be okay? Will you have this person, this person, this person? Like, we just played it all the way through. And I think that can also help of just like, oh yeah, okay, this big fear that I'm trying to control or avoid or just stress over because it's outside of control. It's like, and you can survive and you won't be alone. You don't have to be alone. Even if you are alone, you can find people to not be alone.
And that's why she started slowly poisoning me. I mean, coming back to kind of what we were saying before, though, you started to allude to your life today. And I'd love, we got a little bit of a lead up to kind of what happened and how you got exposed to non-monogamy. And you spoke a little bit about your nesting partner. But I'd love to hear a little bit more about, what your life looks like today, that connection with your nesting partner, if there are any other relationships that might be in your life. Please, go ahead.
You want him to bring it up. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll start with my nesting partner. My week is very comfy and safe and lovely. We'd either chill out on the couch together, or sometimes she'll offer me a shoulder rub every so often, because I am a stiff fucker. My job fucks me up. So I have that relief there, and there's a connection there that I had never experienced before in terms of safety. She is the safety net that I always needed and never thought I did. It's just a deep level of communication and trust. Our relationship is very equal. A lot of the things we do, we help each other out. There's not really any gender specific things we do, because fuck that. So wonderful relationship there. But yeah, Evie.
People don't know me like that. People call me Evie. I might have started hitting on you after I invited you on the podcast. Let's just say that. It really wasn't my plan. I super promise. We just found your profile and I was like, oh, that'd be a great guest. And then you just kept being great. And so I kept flirting with you. So here we are.
Yeah.
Let the man tell his version of the story. Please. So, Reece, would you like to tell us about that?
Fucking shit-eating grin.
I'm a big old shit eater.
I fancy the shit out of Evie. Is that what you want me to? Is that what you want me to say? Oh, fuck's sake!
For everyone who doesn't know, that we're talking about Genevieve.
Yeah. I said it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just started to get to know Evie, Genevieve, and the more we talked, the more we found our own similarities with either our own stories or mindsets and belief systems and ways of expressing ourselves in the world that we haven't been able to otherwise. And yeah, started to fancy her. Didn't see that coming. Didn't see that coming myself. And yeah, now you're coming over to Ireland to have a little visit.
Yeah, I'm coming in 3 weeks.
Yes. So that's all mad and exciting and lovely. And I am filled with a lot of joy and excitement, and to be talking and coming from a perspective of experiencing people with very little experience, to then suddenly going to the person with what you would assume incredibly good experience.
Let's hope. It could all be an illusion.
But yeah, it's very comforting. And I feel very safe and very seen by you, and I like you.
I like you too. Yeah, no, it's just uncommon for me to like people easily. I like people, but I don't often I'm not interested in getting to know them better.
You don't often like them?
Yeah. You're such a little you're such a little gossip. You're such a little mischievous sprite.
A little nymph, a little imp over here.
What's it like for you sitting here?
So Okay, I'm the only one who's not uncomfortable here. I'm perfectly fine. So I'll gladly talk about this. This has been awesome because, I was the one who was like, hey, here, look at this guy. He seems cool.
Yeah, I guess we buried the lead. You found my new relationship.
And was like, oh, we should invite him. And so, so to give some timeline for people and a little bit of behind the scenes, we do pre-interviews with guests just to get on the same page about topics they want to talk about and just get a face to the name and initial introduction for people we might not already know. And so we did that, maybe a week or so later. And then, that was like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And in that time, they've been chatting. It's been interesting. I'll say from my perspective, it was a little confusing at first because Genevieve was like, oh, we're kind of flirting a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I get it. I was kind of flirting with him when I was here.
I thought you might have been.
I mean, you were like, congrats, Reece is hot. So,
definitely. And then like a couple days later, she came back again and was like, so, things are like progressing. And I was like, oh,
I didn't say it like that.
You definitely said those
that?
words. And that's
okay.
what, like,
I forgot that.
I started to get like fucking stressed and I was like, okay, you
what
told
does
me
that
you were
mean?
flirting.
Yeah.
And then I just like let it go because I was like, oh, it's fine. But then it was like eating at me. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And I came back like a day or so later, like, hey, this has been on my mind.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean? Like, what is going on? And she was like, but I told you I was flirting. I was like, so we just kind of hashed out like that you liked him.
Yeah.
That was the point of what you were saying.
It's one of those things where like I was sort of, so we were taught, you had sent me, Reece, you had sent me a video test with your new mic. And I don't know, I think I asked how your date went actually, because went on that double date. And then we just started chatting and you were like, oh, I never thought I'd be like lightly flirting with the polyam girl, like life is wild. And I was like, would you like to be heavily flirting? And I like took a little leap there and it was just like a lot of fun. And so that's when I was like, oh, something is switched. Let me just give a heads up to you. And that's when I was like, oh, by the way, I'm like flirting with him, just especially because we were going to meet on the podcast. And I was like, vibe shift might happen, heads up. But then we kept talking for a few days and I was like, oh, I'm not just like flirty. I think I like you and I'd like to get to know you better. So that's why I went and I updated you and I was like, hey, what do you want to know like as I get to know Reece? But I think my like overzealousness of trying to keep you posted freaked you out. And you're like, and I was like, oh shit, I was overthinking it.
I think you were starting to like it.
I got clearer on like
that it wasn't just like a flirtation. It was like a connection.
And so I've also never gotten to know somebody from long distance in this way before. So it was funny because, I mean, I'm polyamorous for 13 years. I talk about it all the time. Clearly there's comfort here. And I've never done this before of like chat, like I've never met you in person and I'm gonna fly to meet you. And that feels very cool. And also it's a first, And so when I'm coming to update you about it, it's also kind of a first of like, I mean, normally by now I would have had a first date and told you how the date went. Like, but there was like this interesting, like kind of awkwardness where I didn't know what the translation of my normal MO was in this. I update you, but at what pace and in what way and how much do you want to know? And then you were like, oh, no, I don't need any updates. So I just like didn't tell you when I was texting with him. And so you're like,
if I can pick up on that, actually. So speaking to this, I love how this is your interview.
And we're just describing.
Okay, now we're talking about it. Because at this point, it has left.
No, work away.
This is why I introduced this as a very special guest, right? Because this is a unique situation that obviously has never happened on the show before. I cannot imagine will ever happen again. But this has now left the territory of just your story. And now it's a little bit of all of us sharing this experience together because in a fashion, we have met once before on the pre-interview, but this is now me meeting a metamor in a fashion, right? It's changed in a certain way. So I had said the typical thing I probably say about a thing where it's like, yeah, I don't need any further updates. I'm good. Like you guys are liking each other. That's great. But then I think that was interpreted as don't tell me things or like don't feel a need to share more about the connection. And then there was like kind of this reticence to say, oh, I'm texting with Reece or whatever. And so I would see you on your phone in a very like, engaged
Happy
way, in a happy and engaged way. And I would, because I know you, I'm like, oh, she's texting with Reece. And I'm like, oh, what are you up to? And you're like,
I was just like, oh, I'm chilling on the porch. I'm texting.
Yeah, I'm chilling on the porch. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, bitch, I know you on the porch. I see you.
I was like omitting. It's funny how that can happen because it wasn't like, I don't even really think it was conscious. I do think there was a tightness.
Yeah.
There was like a tightness of like, I actually don't know how much you want to know, And that luckily lasted for all of 24 hours.
Yeah, like a day. And I was like, hey,
you're like, girl, tell me.
I know you're texting with Reece right now. Like, you can say I'm texting with Reece. And the fact that you're not saying it is making me uncomfortable. Because now I feel like there's almost like a hiding and a lying, a shame of omission, which doesn't need to be here, and I don't think either of us actually feels, but makes me really uncomfortable. So just say, I'm texting with Reece. And you're like, okay. And then since then, it's just been like, oh yeah.
The minute you said that, I totally empathized too, because I get it. It's like if somebody is like doing something in front of you and you don't care, but if they are like doing it and like hiding it from you, then you're like, well, what are you doing then? So like, and I wasn't hiding it on purpose, but I think it can be really easy to fall into that of just like discomfort or not super knowing where the lines are. But yeah, then you just snapped out of it.
Yeah, we're talking again,
a number of hours.
These are all like 24, 48 hour things. But also, I think kind of going off of that long distance thing, typically like I would see her going out on a date, right? It's like, oh, I'm going on my date with so-and-so, or I'm going to go meet up with X person who I might, it's like we're friends, but maybe it'll be more, right? And so it's like I'm seeing kind of progression happen. That for me was some of the struggle with regards to the long distance element of like not seeing it unfold. So that has been really interesting. And I just want to say, like, I've been so fucking excited to talk about this on the podcast, because the whole point of the show is to give examples to people about how these conversations can go, how these conflicts can go. What does it look like? And this is just like it happening literally in real time. And I was so fucking excited to share that with guests. It's awesome. It's super awesome. So
you're cute.
Yeah. So thank you for making that opportunity, for being cool enough and hitting on this hottie and making it happen. So Reece, we've talked a lot for the past like 10, 15 minutes about this. What's going on? How's it been for you?
It was unexpected. I as I say, connection is very rare for me. So when I did start to see similarities and reasons to connect with Evie, it was like sparks everywhere. Like, it's very weird not going on a date. But at the same time, there's many different ways of understanding a human. That doesn't mean you have to eat in front of them.
It's the only way to get to know someone.
So it's been an interesting process thus far, and it's exciting. For me as well, a part of my willingness to connect is also a level of respect for people's understanding and safety. And Evie has an incredible amount of that. And I have an incredible amount of respect for her already. And it has just developed into me fancying the shit out of her.
I'm on camera now. I can't hide.
Cannot.
I'm just going to pause for a second because I think Sirica is trying to come in.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hiya, how are you?
This is perfect timing. Wait. Okay. Wait. Don't go. How would you like to be on the podcast?
Me?
Yeah,
well,
why not? No.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, by the way, I'm Ishik. What's going on?
Hi, Ishik. Hi, Genevieve. How are you?
More than welcome to join the conversation if you'd be so interested.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, go on.
Reece, how do you feel about that?
How do you feel about that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, Reece, more the merrier, Reece. I'm going to get a drink of water and a chair.
To viewers and listeners, as you're coming back to us now, we were just talking about Reece getting to know Evie and kind of what that's been like for all of us. And then just so fortuitously, such serendipity, his nesting partner. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi,
Welcome. Hi.
welcome.
That's the point. Welcome.
I'm Circa. I'm Reece's nesting partner, and I've just come home. Not sure how much of an introduction you were giving.
Well, so we were each kind of sharing a little bit about what the past couple of weeks have been like for each of us, and how it all kind of went down, and how we're all feeling about it. And such perfect timing. I would love to hear about what your experience has been like. Hearing about it. Have you heard about it? I take it this is not your first time being exposed to
We're
the
not
idea.
breaking news to you right now.
So yeah, I'd love to hear about it.
Okay, yeah, great. So I feel so happy. Really, it's so nice to see Reece being so glowy and, smiley, having conversations with Genevieve. I'll see him go from being a little nervous about something and then just the visible relaxing after having conversations is just so nice. The whole process has been very a total whirlwind. I suppose you probably went over how it's we from the very start we said that we wanted to have a poly relationship. You said that you were polyamorous in yourself. I was kind of not quite there myself at the start. I was I had been in a poly relationship previously for a long time and was very happy in that kind of relationship, but I wouldn't have had it as an identity marker. I would have had I was in a poly relationship and, but I could be in a monogamous relationship. It kind of depends on the relationship. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't have kind of thought either way for myself. But it's only recently then in the last few weeks and in the last month that we've really talked about becoming more public about it and opening ourselves up to seeing people and in in the space of a week of starting to have those conversations, Reece ended up posting about it on his social media, just like a little story thing. But then then meeting Genevieve through that and to be on the podcast, but then the whole relationship blossoming as the two of you got to know each other was amazing. Completely unexpected, and as we're being honest, I was kind of whoa, this is a lot very quickly and quicker than I was expecting it to be, because we were talking about, okay, let's take it very slow. We'll kind of see who's out there and talk about just meeting people, almost as friends at first, and then it was this person is very, I think a very meaningful person, and I'm having all these conversations, and I was okay, and I actually had, what did I call it? I was I think I'm getting a bit of emotional whiplash. It's not that I'm feeling this is a bad thing. I'm just it's I'm trying to do a load of processing in a very short space of time, and then everything with that, also a huge amount of relief to be back in a poly relationship in this kind of opening up way at all. There was one day where I was crying and really sobbing, and Reece was oh, are you okay? What's going on for you? And I think you might have thought that I was having, maybe issues or jealousy problems, but I was I'm just so happy. And I this is the kind of relationship that I really want. And I didn't know how much I wanted it until I was in it. And, so a lot of processing, a lot of emotions.
This is now turned into a couples session. So we're going to do this now. Circa, you've alluded a little bit, if you're willing to share, to this past relationship that you were in that was also polyamorous. Would you be willing to tell us a little bit more about that? Was that your first exposure to non-monogamy? How did that go? Stuff like that.
Yeah, it was both my first exposure to non-monogamy and my first proper serious relationship that started when I was in my late teens. I don't know what you've used the word polyamorous at the time, but not long after. But that she, this was her, and this was kind of relationship she wanted. And I think maybe at the start kind of went for that really strongly. And my reaction was just fear, panic, jealousy, abandonment, rejection, all those things. And but I I really liked the sound of it. Like, I was kind of like, in principle, in theory, I'm totally with you, 100%. Like, that sounds great, like, but yeah, emotionally, I was not there. So, but it was a real learning curve in jealousy and insecurity. And, like, I remember, her going on, her kind of first date that I totally okayed, go ahead, really happy for you to go on this date. And then I was in bits. I was like really, really upset. But then and I don't even know kind of when the moment was, or if it probably wasn't a moment at all, but like the insecurity just kind of kind of just shrank and shrank and shrank the longer that I realized that even though my partner was seeing other people, that what we had was this kind of unwavering thing, and not, I mean, like, all relationships have their own problems, but that there wasn't there was no sense of me actually being left for someone else, but then the kind of the compersion started to come, where I would just be really happy for my partner to be in a particular situation or seeing a particular person. And I think what really helped as well, like, she didn't experience jealousy, so she put it to me, like, there was just no feeling of jealousy. She was only happy for me to see other people, like, from the very start. And I think that was really cool to see. Not that zero jealousy is the goal, which it's not, it's about managing feelings that come up in a self-caring way, but it was really cool to see the thing that felt like such a block for me not be an issue for somebody else, and to kind of see, like, oh, it could be that way. Like, it could just be that someone's like, how did it go? That. And it was really cool to have that as a model. And then it, like, if you are experiencing jealousy, it just becomes a teacher, like a big arrow towards the particular thing that you feel like you might be lacking in your relationship or in your own life. If I'm feeling upset about this particular thing, it's because I have an unmet need. And the best way to address that in the relationship is not to say, don't see this other person, but it's to say, hey, I'm actually lacking in this particular thing, or this, this particular thing that we're doing or not doing. Can we have more of this, and just to direct that into changing the relationship, or changing something in yourself, even outside of the relationship, rather than changing how they are with other people. But yeah, it is. And I've done a bit of a turnaround on myself. I actually think that I might call myself a polyamorous person now, as an identity thing, just because of how comfortable it is now, and that feeling of relief was just really profound. I was like, oh, like, I think that is just the kind of structure that makes me happy. Happiest. I love when my partner has other partners. That makes me feel safe and comfortable, and it's just extra joy. So yeah,
I'm so glad. Yeah, I mean, well, Reece has mentioned that you're happy, I asked him not to tell me all of your business. I'd rather meet you and know it straight from you. But it is nice to know. And it was actually really reassuring to me because, I a couple of things have gone through my mind of, like, one, I don't want to hurt anybody, right? Like, I don't want to be perceived as a threat, and I told him, I was like, if you hurt her, I'm going to be really pissed at you, so better not. Because, like, one, I just don't want that to exist. It's so unnecessary. But two, like, if I'm also starting to like somebody, then, like, if they fumble that, I'm not saying you will, Reece, but, like, if they fumble that and then hurt their other partner, a lot of times that can then be like, implosion, let me take care of this person, and then I get dropped. And that was a fear that I said. I was like, I just don't want to invest a whole lot of hope and happiness in this if there's a chance I could be, like, dropped, because I just met y'all. I don't know, And so there was a lot of reassurance there from him that there's not, like, any sort of, that wouldn't be a response to fear, And that was reassuring, as well as, like, just him sharing a bit about your own desire for this, that you're not, like, being dragged into, that you're actually, like, happy about it, made me feel really relieved. So there's been some, like, through him learning about the situation, that has made me hesitantly happy to keep moving forward. So I appreciate that about your relationship.
So I also want to ask, so you were saying that even though there was happiness and like an openness and desire, even as it started to gestate more, for, things to open up and happiness for Reece to meet somebody, that there was this whiplash, right? And that there was a lot of processing. Was there anything that you found particularly helpful, especially maybe from how Reece, navigated that situation, that he did or said, or how he communicated or took care of you through that process that made it easier? So for other people who are maybe going through that now, how they could maybe learn to help support or be supported in that process.
Yeah, definitely. Two big things that Reece does that are great are coming up, and so I'll talk about both of them. One is just that Reece is incredibly transparent and honest, and so cards on the table. Like, I think something like, if you're feeling any kind of insecurity, something that can really exacerbate it, and to no fault of their own sometimes, but if someone is not so transparent, or finds that, has maybe some things that they're holding back or holding from their partner, or doesn't want to say because they don't want to hurt their partner, this kind of thing. Reece doesn't have any of that. It all comes out and flows out, but it's great, because for me, I suppose there's no sense of, maybe he feels more deeply than he's letting on, I wonder how, this kind of thing, or anything like that. I'm like, I know exactly how he feels as he's communicating it to me. And that feels really it's very easy to recover from insecurity when that's part of the relationship. And then the second thing is, if I'm having an emotional response, like a strong, sad or insecure emotional response, also from my previous relationship, I'm fairly good at having it and holding it, and not immediately being and there's a problem, or this is kind of wrong that this is happening, or anything like that. I'm kind of okay, that's interesting. I'm feeling insecure, let's kind of just let that flow through. And I can talk to Reece in a way that I can be I'm having these feelings, I'm feeling insecure in this way, or this is actually causing a bit of envy. And Reece is very good at not hearing that and reacting, I've done something wrong, or I have to stop doing something to make her feel safe or feel secure. He's just okay, thank you for, how can I support you? And and it's great, because it means that I can cry, and I can feel very comfortable crying, and just being very, very flowing in the emotion, without feeling I need to hold this back because he's going to feel bad. I don't have that at all. And that's incredibly helpful.
Well, to kind of flip it, Reece, has there been things that the way that she's communicated or asked for support or anything through this process that has helped you to do those very things that she is saying have been helpful for her?
Absolutely. The way she is honest to a fault as well. There's no ounce of anything that would make me believe that she would say anything that was incorrect or untrue. All of the things she ever says are factual and from herself. And that makes it so easy to then communicate feelings and navigate those feelings in a safe space, either whether we share it together or whether you're having an emotion. And she has the vulnerability and the openness for me to be able to do that. She welcomes it entirely, openly, and truthfully, which makes any process easy.
So when planning the trip to come to Ireland in a few weeks, Reece was like, would you want to meet her? And I was like, the answer is yes. And it's whiplash for me a bit too. I think for all of us a little bit, but
I'm fine.
Well, that's great. That's great for you. But yeah, I have comments in other countries. Well, and then you're the only local partner for a while. So it's whiplash for me too. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to come to a country I've never been to, meet a man I've never met. Yeah, I want to meet his partner too. And I know myself, I know I get anxiety. I know I can get easily overwhelmed. I was trying to think, I was like, I get anxiety at food things. I can get nauseous. So maybe it's not a meal. I was thinking this. And then you just walk in and I'm like, this is great. This is great. This is easy. This is
Is this your first time meeting?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You didn't realize that? Yeah.
No, I thought that you guys at least like had seen on like a video chat or something.
No. So and
this is awesome.
It's very nice. It's very like
oh my god.
Yeah. So we mentioned that I had like a 24-hour stretching and growing pains with Ishik of figuring out how to say that. Was there any growing pains so far in the first couple of weeks for you, Reece, that you were like, oh, whoop, I gotta switch up what I'm doing? Or is it just me? Am I just
Actually, you're the one who's bad at polyamory. I keep hitting.
Well, no, actually.
Cool. All right. I'll see myself out.
To the corner with you. To the shame corner.
No, I've just been elated. I've just been around people who love me and support me, and I feel loved, and I'm starting to love someone else and go into that feeling, and then Ishik, you're just sound as fuck. Ishik is great. That makes me feel safe. So for me, there hasn't really been many hang-ups, I don't think. Would you say there was anything else that kind of came up for me?
Not that many. Maybe a couple of days of being, and that's kind of like combined with other life things, really, like just kind of a bit overwhelmed, like a bit like...
Because I'm like,
just screaming.
Why do people love me? so like there's that, and then I have this intense like feeling of doubt. And we had a conversation about it then, Evie, of like, I then am like, this person isn't telling the truth. And like, they're lying to me and I'm scared. We had our own conversation then about how you had a trigger with that.
Oh, yeah. When people think that I'm lying.
Yeah,
or when people think,
exactly.
and it wasn't that you were accusing me of anything. You were just sort of like, I don't believe this. And I was just like, well, it's really important that people understand that what I say is true.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
Because it's such a big network of things when it comes to polyamory, and you're going to touch on nerves and feelings that pop up. But like, overall, it's been a very easy process.
Well, to kind of echo that, I'll say like, and kind of some of what Serica was saying as well, like seeing her be really happy and excited has been really, I've been enjoying that. I've been having a lot of compersion for our listeners. But also like now it's like more than doubling or tripling down. It's like quadrupling down, seeing the two of you and how you're talking and like us all four getting to talk like this. I'm fucking overjoyed. I'm bursting with elation right now. I'm like, fuck yeah, I want a ticket to Ireland too. Let's all go. Let's all have a great time and hang out. It's gonna be awesome. Why wouldn't I be so happy seeing lovely, good people be happy and taking care of each other? I would love to hear from you, the listener who is confused by this. Why wouldn't I be happy? Tell me why I wouldn't be happy right now. Like, we're secure, right? We're safe. We're happy. We love each other. You two love each other and are secure. That's very obvious, right? Tell me what is your perception, listener, as to why I wouldn't be just over the fucking moon.
Are you prepared to be called a cuck a lot?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
you're asking the general public.
No, but I want them to tell me, like, yes, that is exactly what they're going to say, but I want them to say why. How do you define cuck in this instance? And this is going to sound.
And why is it bad?
And why is it bad? But I'm not being cucked, right? Because like, I go out and fuck other people too. I have relationships with other people too. I have other dynamics and loves and connections, and like that's not what's happening here. And so it's I'm just fucking happy. I don't know.
So this is the first time that I'm like really like this is the first time you're being publicly visible on camera.
Oh, the podcast.
The podcast is. This is the first time that I'm really like publicly including another person that I'm seeing, just because you happen to also have a platform, invited you on and all that. And you're both like big dudes with beards and long hair, and I was like, I'm still bisexual, okay? Everybody, like I still have like I've dated like so many women behind the scenes, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, but that's just my own insecurity with people being biphobic online. I happen to like both of y'all at the moment.
It's funny too. I did actually think about wearing my hair down, because when it's down, it looks really similar to his, actually.
You're a little doppelgangery.
Just to mess with her a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw your nose ring and I was like, I really think that would suit me.
It would.
You say that. I've been actually thinking the same thing about the piercing down here.
Dude, if you get this, I'll get that.
Oh, no.
Yes. I'm just so happy.
It's fantastic, and I am so glad that we are able to be friends.
He's talking about me, of course.
Yeah.
He's happy that we can be friends.
Yeah.
You're incidental.
You'll both go foraging. Well, thank you both for being here. And thank you, Reece, so much for coming on and being in my life already. And this is cool and TBD, to be continued. I would love to invite you also, anybody who wants to find your work online, where can people find you and stay in touch?
You can find me on my Instagram predominantly at Saul Forged, SAUL Forged, where I do all of my blacksmithing and share my opinions on the world.
And Serica, do you want to promote anything? You don't have to, but
I haven't really much to promote. I'm very offline in my existence. I have an Instagram where I think the last photo I posted was actually 2.5 years ago, so not much point in looking at that. Yeah.
okay, cool. Yeah, just like him. He's pretty offline.
Yeah.
Except when he's checking my comments.
Yeah, no, I get to use Instagram through her account and then not have to have one of my own. It's awesome. But if you are looking for that Instagram, you can find more polyamory content that Genevieve makes on TikTok and Instagram at Chill Polyamory. She also makes long-form media analysis about non-monogamy in film and TV. That's also at Chill Polyamory on YouTube. And yeah, she could tell you about the other great stuff.
Yeah, you can support those projects and this podcast on patreon.com/chillpolyamory. That's also where I post resources every Sunday. I have a backlog of, I think, 275 resources I've been posting since 2018. As well as an option for one-on-one pen pals if you'd like to email and chat, and an option for one-on-one peer support. So that is patreon.com/chillpolyamory.
I also respect that you didn't round that up to almost 300. It's 275.
No, genau. It needs to be
genau.
precise. Yeah.
Well, on that very fun and generally joyous note, this has been I Could Never. And for everyone listening, remember that just because you haven't done something before doesn't mean that you can't do it.
Bye.
Bye.